Ladies and gentlemen, gather close to the stage because it is now my privilege and my honor to introduce to you your Master of Ceremonies for this afternoon. He is well known to Valley listeners on KFYI 55 radio. He's my new best friend and we're friends on Facebook. I'm proud to introduce Mr. Mike Broomhead.
Thanks for being here, everyone. Before we get started, I didn't get to see all of this. If you're here and you are not from Arizona, let me hear from you. If you're not from Arizona, let's hear from you.
Colorado!
Thank you for coming, supporting the state of Arizona, and believe it or not, it is a dry heat. Oh my gosh. We thank you so much for being here. We have taken a lot of hits. I tell my listeners that we are at the tip of the spear. We have got to defeat a lot of things today. I mean that in a good way. We have to defeat so many things this afternoon. Arizona is not a racist state. This is not about a race of people. This is about borders. This is not about disliking other countries. This is about loving our country. We are a nation of immigrants, and we welcome with open arms anyone who would come and join us that would renounce the citizenship of where they come from to become one of us. But we ask you to do it legally. That's not so hard. Before I introduce our first speaker, what I'd like to recognize, or who I'd like to recognize, and if you would help and join me in doing this, I would like anyone who is a veteran of our armed forces, please raise your hands and be recognized. And along with them, if we have any current members of our military, if you are currently enlisted, please raise your hands. All right. Regardless of what anyone tells you, the backbone of a strong nation is its defense, and you can see by the veterans here, they are still defending their country. We cannot thank you, ladies and gentlemen, enough for your service in the past and for your service here today. It's going to be a long afternoon. It's going to be big and loud. We know that we've got some live TV cameras are going to be here, so we ask all of you to be loud and proud. There's water and things around. Keep yourself hydrated. I want to introduce your first speaker this afternoon. Remember the Border Patrol agents who were put in jail? Remember Border Patrol agent Ramos? His father-in-law, Joe Loya, is here to speak with us today, and I want to make sure that we send back to this family the full support of the people that are here. So if you will please give me a big welcome for Mr. Joe Loya.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for inviting me here today. My wife and I arrived here a couple of hours ago. We left El Paso about 6:30 this morning. I want to apologize for El Paso. Those morons over there that are running our city voted to boycott Arizona, just like San Diego, Sacramento, San Francisco, Los Angeles. A bunch of idiots. Our Pledge of Allegiance says, "One nation, indivisible." This nation has never been so divided as it is now. The United States of America, Arizona is one of those states. How can they boycott any state? The worst thing I've ever seen in my life, one of the worst things I've ever seen, was when Mexican President Calderon was given a standing ovation for putting down the Arizona Bill 1070. You know, that's right, that's right. Another moron, that little weasel. But you know, ladies and gentlemen, I've lived on the border for 68 years. I've been on the border. I've never been more than 5 or 10 minutes from the border in El Paso and Juarez, where we have gone through over 500,000 homicides in two and a half years in Juarez, Mexico. That is the Mexican culture. Don't believe all this stuff about the drug cartels killing each other. They're just a bunch of criminals. They're killing kids. They're killing school children. We had a 10 and a 15-year-old killed just this week. A couple of kids. This is the Mexican culture. Ladies and gentlemen, I toured this nation when I was working for Ramos and Compian, my son-in-law. When he was in prison, as a matter of fact, he spent almost 2 years in prison up on Interstate 17 here. And before I got on the stage, I talked to my daughter. She's in Katy, Texas. She was crying because she couldn't be here. It's 1,200 miles away. It's just not affordable at this point because they're still struggling quite a bit. But she told me to tell all the people of Arizona how much she loved you. And thank you. And so did Ignacio, my son-in-law, who couldn't be here because the judge said she will not let him attend anything that is not beneficial to his rehabilitation. Can you imagine? A Border Patrol agent who spent 11 years as a Border Patrol agent, he busted 100 Mexican drug smugglers. He served 8 years in the U.S. Navy, and he needs rehabilitation because he wounded an illegal alien criminal habitual drug smuggler in self-defense. But you know, the prosecutors, and now you know why Ramos and Compian were prosecuted, and it was all political. And this is part of what we're here for today, to fight for. I fight for Ramos and Compian still every day. It's been a nightmare for the family, not to mention not only the financial impact, but it's really hit us hard. The kids have had a lot of problems with it. You know, he was placed in isolation for 26 months in a little concrete cell with a steel door, allowed 1 hour every morning out of that cell. It was very sad. When one reason that I'm so involved in this, ladies and gentlemen, is because my son-in-law Ignacio was taken to Yazoo City, Mississippi in February of 2008, and he was attacked by 6 illegal aliens serving felony sentences at that prison, and they almost killed him after they saw him on America's Most Wanted, who ran a segment on America's Most Wanted for Ramos and Compian in support. America's Most Wanted supported Ramos and Compian. They almost killed my son-in-law in prison. Then what they did, they put him in isolation, and he spent 26 months in isolation until George Bush signed a commutation the day before he left office to order them released from prison. We are very grateful to George Bush for what he did. He was reluctant. It wasn't that easy. A lot of congressmen, a lot of senators had to get on his back to do this, but he came through, and for that I do have a lot of respect for former President George W. Bush. I'll give you another thing that we have going in El Paso. El Paso sector has over 2,500 Border Patrol agents. It spans about 165 miles from Fort Hancock, Texas, all the way to the Arizona border. That is the reason why El Paso is one of the safest cities in America. We have a bunch of illegals, but you know what? They're all underground. You hardly ever see them unless they come out at night. We got them pretty well under control. We don't have the Border Patrol on the levee anymore. Every block we had Border Patrol agents. It's very, very safe. We have the 18-foot fence, double layer, that the Bush administration got us, and that is the reason why we are so safe in El Paso. Thank God for the Border Patrol, the most dangerous job. I feel it's the most dangerous job in the world as far as. And my time is up, but we love you and we thank you, especially all the bikers, who were with Ramos and Compian throughout this ordeal. Thank you so much. Thank you.